In 1998, Hudson Soft crafted the most bloodthirsty Mario Party game that is ruthless in almost every aspect, that is designed to curb stomp the player and spit on their face while insulting their loved ones. This is pretty much common knowledge by now, but what if Hudson Soft took it a step further and brought this game to life? What if the minigames in this game impacted the real world in more ways than one? In this video, I have compiled the top 10 most destructive minigames out of 50, and will discuss in detail how exactly they will impact innocent civilians and the environment on a grander scale. With that being said, let's party. The first minigame considered dangerous is Platform Peril. As the name implies, the objective of this minigame is to skillfully platform your way to the finish line by jumping over the perilous platforms, plummeting into the earth. This is one of my favorite minigames of all time because it just screams Mario. But I'm not sure if the people living below can say the same thing. What if the falling platforms did irreparable damage to the environment, or even possibly death? Think about it. The minigame takes place way up in the sky, and the force of the falling platforms will definitely kill many people if they're able to hit their targets. Not to mention the amount of homes, cars, and other valuable possessions that are significantly damaged in the process, just so one of 4 players can get a measly 10 coins for winning the game. Imagine taking a walk in the park only to see giant platforms hail from the sky and injure innocent bystanders as you watch in horror, knowing there's nothing you can do to stop this gruesome madness. The next minigame is Bombs Away. The objective of this one is to survive an onslaught of heavy and deadly cannonballs being fired from a local Bowser ship while balancing on a tiny island that seems to withstand the overwhelming power of the said cannonball somehow. The impact of this minigame involves potentially damaging the marine ecosystems and climate due to the presence of iron-rich cannonballs being fired repeatedly. It may not have an immediate impact, but is rather dangerous in the long run, as it can potentially cause major pollution. The force of the cannonballs being fired can potentially harm numerous oceanic wildlife, who just so happen to be swimming during the storm of iron. Now, I'm not a marine biologist, nor claim to be by any means, but I'm pretty sure this minigame is very harmful to the delicate ecosystem, and we should be grateful there are no ships firing stuff at us while surviving on a tiny island right now. The next minigame is Grab Bag. The objective for this is to pillage coins from other players while being on guard to protect your own bag until the timer runs out. This is one of the only minigames in Mario Party history that allows players to indirectly influence the coin count and minigame bonus star. I deem this to be potentially dangerous because it can trigger people's fight or flight as you're essentially locked in a dreary room and forced to inflict physical damage onto others to take possession of their belongings. This type of activity can be harmful to an individual's mental state and can cause irreparable mental damage to the inner psyche. Imagine if the entire world was participating in this phenomenon to use whatever weapon they could get a hold of. This will result in a massive bloodbath, leaving possibly no survivors. The next minigame is Tightrope Treachery. The objective for this one is to cross a precarious tightrope while dodging massive cannonballs to the face. As ridiculous as the premise of this minigame sounds, I feel as though it might be dangerous to other boats and ships on the ocean, because you essentially have unlimited cannonballs at your disposal, and can use this power to pillage and plunder other ships of their possessions. Also take note that the characters on these little boats cannot be defeated, as even being hit with cannonballs directly does no damage, but the same cannot be said for normal civilians. Imagine the amount of damage and destruction that will unleash if these game characters decided to turn evil and kill everyone in sight. The next minigame is Piranha's Pursuit. The goal for this game is to skateboard your way to the finish while avoiding obstacles along the way, while the other 3 must feed the ferocious plant with rainwater to snack on the skateboarder. This is dangerous because what if the goal wasn't there and the plant just kept getting bigger, stronger, and faster to the point where even bullets or fire gonna hurt the plant, because it developed an immunity to all sorts of harm due to being so powerful. I know that's not the case for piranha plants normally, but this is the real world and maybe our logic doesn't apply to video game characters. The 3 will continue to feed Piranha Plant and have it consume every innocent person in sight and become virtually unstoppable. The next minigame is Hop a Bomb. The goal for this one is to pass around a steamy bomb that is ready to ignite and throw it to the next person to avoid being hit by the explosion. This is deemed immensely dangerous because it tests the person's trust in their friends, and if they're willing to betray their loved ones to save their own skin by passing the bomb to them. Once the person is killed, the remaining survivors will have to live with the guilt and shame on knowing that they were responsible for killing the ones they used to love, until it's their time to depart. The next minigame is Crazy Cutter. The goal for this one is to use a jackhammer to cut along the lines of a character and get a passing score to free whoever's trapped underneath. I find this to be dangerous because the characters being freed are capable of causing destruction due to their abilities, not to mention the fact that they're huge. probably about 3 times the size of a normal person. When you free them, they are unleashed onto the world, and the type of characters includes Bob-ombs, Boos, and Goombas. Bob-ombs of that size and caliber could unleash massive explosions, causing major property damage and death. Boos can haunt the living and possess people to do their dirty deeds. Giant Goombas can stomp around the city and squash numerous people for fun. Also the fact that this game could be repeated, so you can essentially have an unlimited amount of giant characters waiting to be unleashed. The next minigame is running at the bulb. The goal for this is to extinguish the seemingly unlimited army of Boos by using a mega-sized light bulb, and must work together as a group of 4 to fight them off, and deliver the bulb safely. I deem this dangerous because what if the 4 were all consumed by the big Boo and couldn't defeat them? That would mean that the entire army of ghosts are on the loose and would wreak havoc in our world. More and more people will be possessed and forced them to murder others until there are none left, because Boos love to cause mischief after all, and are known to be evil spirits. Unless we could gather a team of exorcists or make another giant light bulb, there's no way normal humans are winning this fight. The next minigame is Hop Rope Jump. The goal for this is to hop over a literal flaming rope with sentient flames a certain number of times to avoid being burned. This is dangerous for obvious reasons because these sentient flames can burn down all sorts of buildings and environments. But seeing as they're still considered fire, they can be extinguished with fire extinguishers or water, so as long as they're taken care of quickly, they shouldn't pose too much of a threat. The last minigame is Bashing Cash. The objective for this is to mercilessly whack the person in a Bowser suit, and they must escape the wrath of the hammers. This is dangerous because it encourages violence and causes people to gang up on the weak, and if everyone does it, they may turn on each other and cause a global phenomenon of violence and betrayal. Well, that's it for the 10-turn game of Mario Party. The world should be okay once again as long as no one attempts to play this cursed copy, and should be disposed of immediately to avoid further complications involving destruction and death. With all that being said, thank you for watching. Do you agree with my list of dangerous minigames? And please like and subscribe for more videos like these if you want to.